I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.
Welcome to another episode of the In All Honesty podcast. My fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO, and today I've brought in studio very beautiful people. Wenye najua wamekula life so that we can discuss.
Ama wamekuliwa na life.
So that we can discuss adulting for money. But before we get to it, we can start with introductions. How you'd like to be known. You can tell the people. Becky.
My name is Brenda Nyambeki, but you can call me Becky just as Olive did. Hey, what am I? Oh my God, what do I do?
As you'd like to be known, specifically today for this episode.
I am an upcoming content creator.
Yeah.
I do consultancy as well. I'm in theater, something called applied theater. So it's basically quote unquote theater for social change. Yes. Nimefanya biashara. But leo too, let's stick to content creation and yes, the applied theater consultant. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Hey, what would you introduce? We did Liani. Umesema theater for?
Yeah, for
I didn't know
social
that.
change.
Hey.
Yeah.
Okay.
But
You said applied theater.
So I ventured into applied theater. You know,
Like it's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing. So there's drama therapy. Yeah, that's what I do.
Drama therapy.
I know nakwambia nasikianga kwa nikiambia ati wana washikanisha. I'm like, at least you don't know something. But yeah.
Drama therapy.
Yeah.
Hey,
so
bro.
yeah, that's what we do. I do rather.
Okay. Nice.
Where?
Okay, my name is Ndugu Becky. I am a writer at large. I do life. I do life. Tuseme tu nafanya vitu mingi sana kwa maisha.
Yes.
But mostly I write and write more. Yes, for a living.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you for having me.
By any chance, are you Catholic?
No,
You're not?
I used to. I used to be Catholic.
Yeah.
I used
Because
to be
anytime you
Catholic.
say Ndugu, when someone calls you Ndugu or sister, it's either the
Brother.
guild or Catholic.
Oh, guild hapana. Guild ni ya mama. And just for clarity, I identify as a man.
Yeah, okay.
Anyway, Ndugu is not my official name.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
So it's a name I picked from a certain program that used to run on KTN first and then NTV, The Real Househelps of Kawangware.
Oh, okay.
So there's a character in one of the episodes towards the end, before they called it off. She got into a cult, and then they changed her name to Dada Abishai.
Oh.
So I wondered if there is a Dada, there can also be
a Ndugu.
Yeah, for the men.
You're using your medulla oblongata very well.
So I've been Ndugu Abishai for 5 years now.
Yeah.
Wait, so Abisai isn't your name either?
No.
No way.
Yeah. Yes way. Hakuna.
Toka nje.
And it's crazy because now professionally that's how I identify myself. I write for the Business Daily, and that's the byline.
Yeah.
I write for other platforms, and that's the byline.
Okay.
Yes. So I've had to register Ndugu Abishai as
Oh my
to
goodness,
it's
something.
such a good name. Where?
Shalom.
Aki unifanyie
Shalom, Ndugu
branding.
Abishai. Shalom,
Mi
Reverend.
hata nickname
adulting.
itainishika.
But all of you have a unique name anyway. If you, in all honesty,
Yes.
Just
in
that.
all honesty, because everyone will be like, "Are you Kenyan?" Because I remember even in camp, when we went to camp with the same camp, everyone would be like, "Are you Kenyan?" I actually thought you were Ugandan at a minute. Last year. Like, are you Kenyan? So
I've gotten away with so much.
so you have a unique name. See, come
Very
Brenda. My mom was not creative at that.
Tutafanya
We are sorry.
we have episodes on healing family wounds.
I know, I saw it.
Hi. So today we are discussing adulting for money. Basically, what life is like, just looking for money. And I remember Becky specifically when she finished Campo U, and there's another girl, Lisa Sagini. They called me, or rather they contacted me, and they just asked me one question: Mbona hamkutuambia? I was just like, hata mimi nilipigwa na kofi hapa nje.
Butwa.
So you never, like, you're told what life looks like and what it will look like as an adult. You never really get the clear picture of what exactly you have to do to eat daily and to just get to stay alive, basically.
To eat daily.
So I think that being alive is just
Yeah. So that's what we'll be discussing. I picked the two of you
there
because I know.
in this nini because of the
Tunaweza lia.
yeah. No, I'm joking.
Kago amepanic.
Relax.
So basically, usually I put out a prompt on my socials and people send in their responses, or rather their stories. We didn't have a lot of responses for this. And I'm guessing sometimes people have a lot of stories. Sometimes people send in voice notes, and I don't know how to translate that to the anyway. So we'll get to it, but I'll read out maybe a prompt. It will trigger something, and then that will just lead us into the conversation that we are having. So the prompt I did put out on my social said, what was that character developing experience? And what's been your biggest lesson while hustling? And the first person here told me, in capitalism, hard work is rewarded with more work. Don't do that. Have any of you gotten the privilege to work in corporate?
Yes.
Yes. I have, and I'd say it, I was fired.
I was Sijali.
I was fired.
Only once.
I was fired just before I resigned. That was so painful for me.
But
Walikupata before wapate.
Man, you know, like in my head I was planning, I'm going to resign, and I was actually telling my friend, mnabaki hapa kidogo to HR calls me. I'm like, oh my god, see ingekuwa tu mimi ndio wa kwanza. But yeah,
It's painful.
For me,
before wapate.
yeah, that was the most pain. But they fired. I was like, I was done with you guys. Yeah.
Okay. But did you?
And it's true. What the person says, hard work is being like
paid with more.
I remember our team lead aki alikuwa anafanya kazi mob, and in our heads we thought angepandishwa cheo. But hakuwa anapandishwa cheo. Alikuwa tu anaongezewa workload in the same
bila
position.
Pesa,
bila pesa. Hadi kuna time sasa si ndo tunamtetea.
You're the juniors.
We are the juniors. We are actually
that's corporate for you.
Corporate, yeah.
I think I have worked in the banking industry. Immediately after Campo,
what? Yeah.
I went to a bank that I thought was, we used to call it the Pan-African Bank. Yeah, the Pan-African Bank, or a bank that has so many, has a great presence in the African continent. And you see, when you are working for a multinational, you start thinking, or your first thought is that these guys are big on, HR policies. They are big on things like salaries, mzuri, because these guys understand, the continent better than, no hate, KCB and maybe Equity and whatnot.
Were you mentioning names?
And behold.
Lo and behold. Hey. Mse.
Gafla bin vu.
First, I got in as an intern. The course I did required that before graduation, nifanye internship ya 3 months. That is post course internship. So I was there for 3 months, and nikajituma like your senior. Nikajituma, and kujituma yangu ilikuwa tu it was detrimental to my brand, because nilifanya kazi. There are times I would leave the office at 9. There was a time we had a system issue. We left the office at 5. Went.
This is in banking.
Yeah.
So you closed like at 3.
Yes, 4.
They normally close at 3, but they don't leave the bank.
They don't leave.
You don't leave the bank. You're 4.
Any banker,
Yeah.
especially the ones that are not in executive
Yeah.
banking, ukiona bank yenye ni ya wananchi wa kawaida, awase utoka the earliest anaweza toka labda ni 7.
Yeah.
So your hours are not 8-hour days.
No. Because first we report at 7:30.
Yeah.
There's that thing we have in banking where you have to have meetings every day. Sijui the regional manager is coming, sijui the branch manager has what not to do. The long and short of it, we used to leave work sometimes 9. And you see, it's a bank that does not have as many clients as local banks.
Okay.
So I kept asking
Doesn't make
myself,
sense, yeah.
mbona tunakuanga huku mpaka 9?
Okay.
So hii time ya system tuka shift, we did 2 shifts. Ya kwanza we had a kidogo break at 6, and then we did another one that ended at 5. Went tukaoga home. That day the bank has brings you food, and then inakupatia transport home, and like you have a cab that is waiting on you. Then went tukaoga, tukarudi.
You went home to shower.
Yeah.
You don't sleep.
Because now, see, the other day is beginning at 7:30.
Unarudi tu hiyo 7:30.
Hey, as opposed to what?
Let me just laugh at you.
As opposed to what? So it was like a whole 48-hour shift with mini breaks hapa katikati. And the thing that should placate you is the pizza they feed you,
And the cab that they're giving you as well.
And the cab.
Yeah.
You know, no atukupatiwa like what do they call overtime pay or whatnot. So my experience for my introduction to corporate was that for lack of a better word, brutality.
Okay.
Because I believe that is professional brutality.
And the
then
internship, were you getting paid?
the internship, yes. Luckily, I was getting paid 30 Gs. 30 is because the guys I went to
Then 30
Unacheza na
was like
salary
a
ya mtu
substantial-
sahi na ako
Ile
30.
time, hata wase tulienda nao internship walikuwa wanapatiwa like 3,400 and it really
So 30 was
3,000.
an amount.
That's
30
30
was
was
amount.
yeah,
Just
it is the first time I registered for NSSF, NHIF, and all those other statutory deductible things, and also paid tax for the first time because nilikuwa tu na file nil returns. So for the first time I felt like a responsible human, a responsible Kenyan, you know, to
Unapewa
see
pizza na unalipiwa cab.
to get a pay slip that says pay hapo chini, pay this amount. Anyway, that was my introduction to corporate. And then I transitioned to now a smaller institution, a finance institution as well, but on a smaller scale, like a tier 3 microfinance, but on a higher position. I went there as as an IT as an IT manager. Na sikuwa najua any IT. Hizi ni zile jobs zenye so unajua story ya computer hivi.
Umefanya packages.
Cabinet secretary.
Umefanya
Tunaweka cabinet
packages.
secretary wetu next.
That is a story for some other time.
Bora umefanya packages mkuu unajua IT.
But
by the way.
kilini ramba properly. Nili struggle.
It wasn't the type to learn on the job.
No, you see, I got in when there was another system shift. Like they were moving from one system to another. So there wasn't really time to learn on the job. It was so lisama unajua hizi vitu kuja. So there was a lot of struggles. I kept the job for 3 months. Then wakanipatia kazi ingine sasa. Something again I didn't even have an idea. Internal
I thought
audit.
ulikuwa unapelekwa kwa where you knew something.
Internal audit.
Oi.
Yeah. So kurambwa nayo nilirambwa hiyo mwaka properly. I had the worst 6 months of my life. Yeah, but I had to, like Olive said, I needed to eat on a daily basis. So lazima tu ningefanya kazi. By the time I was quitting, like you, walikuwa me prepare kunifuta. But nili
uliquit before.
Soft quitting. Soft quitting. Niliacha tu kufanya kazi. So I was never meeting my KPIs. I was just there attending because now I was a senior person. Walikuwa wananipatia chai, and chai for me was everything in that organization. So nilikuwa naenda because I have my own flask na my own office.
I hear you lived a good life.
Yes.
I know.
So I always tell people, if you can love the way they make tea in your organization,
Yeah.
it can be your motivation. Inaweza kuwa tu motivation yako ya I mean, it doesn't mean you have dreams zako ni ndogo. Maybe all you dream about and for is good tea.
I'm actually thinking about it, and I'm like, I think that's the only corporate job I've ever had.
Oh, wow.
I was fired before I quit. You know? And for me, because kwa msanii comes with, like, we always feel like these 8 to 5 things don't work.
It doesn't.
Limiting, yeah.
So and being in campus and doing, you know how we do promo jobs in Kamponi, so in I know me nakumbuka in campus. So in campus we do the promotional jobs in the supermarket. Nakuma Tumega Kisumu from 8 to 5, and then we'd get to now the clubs now promoting the alcohol. So it was like 8 to 5 and then 6 to midnight.
Whoa.
And then you get your good money.
like
Campus,
And our bodies were okay.
and our bodies
18-hour
I
You are
don't
not
think I can.
crashing.
Say hata nenda ukienda dunda tomorrow, you're like, hey, Brenda, not again. So I think at in campus, I wish when I saved, yes, I wish that whatever I did in campus, I could do it right now. So when I come out of campus, we have that conversation in adulting, but then I'm like, I'm not sure I want to do an 8 to 5. So I keep on with this just to gigs here and there. I am just not in a structured system here 8 to 5. But this one time I tell myself, hata mimi nataka kuva poa. Now me, what was motivating? I wanted to be a corporate girl was the fact that the bus would pick us. Oh my God, that thing would excite me like
Exactly.
crazy.
Look for motivation.
And you know the van
sense.
ya company was it looked like a tourist van.
It's very comfortable.
Very comfortable, very classy. So me, that thing used to excite me, and the fact that I'd leave my house with a laptop, and then unaenda job, and then we can come. Oh, leo huko job. I'm like, that excited me. I will not even lie. For us, we had tea. No, did we have? Yes, we have tea, but it wasn't as nice. Mimi, the fact that I'd wake up, I am not a morning person, but this job, I would wake up. I'd look forward to just carrying my bag, getting into that bus, getting to the gate. The soldiers just look at the soldiers at the gate looking at us. They're like, "Oh, karibuni." Yeah,
You've made your hair over the weekend.
Yeah, I've made my hair over the weekend, and then you're just there talking to your colleagues. Mimi yondo ilikuwa na exact, not even the job, because I did not even like the job. After the money is going to bamba. Vibe being a working girl is what used to excite me.
Yeah.
And then after some time I'm like, hey, Brenda, I don't think this is for me. So see, my performance starts dropping because now you see the first month I'm so excited, my performance is okay. I think I got to the 5th month. No sooner had that. The fifth month I was put on PIP. Now I'm looking at my HR.
PIP.
I'm asking imagine. I'm asking my HR, can I move to another department? Like, we're working on it. And I looked at her and told her, I don't think then I'll stay here for long. So I don't think sijui kama ndo limpea queue ya kunifuta before. I was put on PIP twice.
But usually if you're put on PIP, just resign. Usually
that is
not
like an indicator
that's,
you're on your way out.
So
performance indication that you're leaving.
After the first PIP, I improved because I think I was nilishtuka. Then I did my best. After some time, nikaekwa kwa ya pili. Sasa ndo pia I started looking for an exit plan. Kumbe the HR pia had already looked for an exit plan. But it was fine for me. And that some of the lessons, that statement here in corporate, it's hard work. You just get rewarded by more work. And I see it even with my friends. I have to, and actually even see it with my partner. I always ask him, unajua ukikufa sahi? Kuna mtu atapewa hiyo kazi immediately. I was actually seeing the other day there's this lady for this bank.
Absa.
I don't want to let's Absa.
Okay.
Aki tuta
Toa your part.
uogopi
mimi
uko na pesa ya lawyer.
Wanipe kwanza funding share.
I saw like she's not even barren. They've
Yeah.
already advertised her position. It's that bad.
And I think it's because corporate and generally the work environment and the work culture is it's soulless. It doesn't have a soul. It continues. Tomorrow, if today you drop dead, kesho kampuni haifungi kwa sababu
Haifungi juu ya
umekufa.
soul.
Si kampuni imekufa, ni wewe. Unaona? So wewe kufa, we will wish you well, we will place an obituary kwa gazeti and vibes.
They actually send people to come for the burial, but the company won't close. Some
Exactly.
people will remain working while others come
And actually,
kuzika.
the
But
entire
may I
office
have an insensitive
haitakuja.
question? What were they to wait for?
Exactly. And I think I was coming there.
Like ilikuwa tungoja usiku.
Ndio nini
What is the
ifanyike?
timeline?
But Aki-
Like
I think it's just generally the human expectation that we have.
Yeah.
That unaona vile saizi ukidai familia yenu ina, like the guys in sijui Australia and SA and whatnot, they will come. All of us will stop whatever it is that we are doing to come and attend to this burial thing. So people expect the same with employers and companies.
Yeah.
But you see, they are not here to grow you. They're here to grow their company, their brands, and their things. So you that has died was part of their story. Because you could as well quit.
That's true, yeah.
Sindio?
But don't you in my head I'm thinking then wangetafuta tu mtu without
Without advertising.
yeah, because I felt that
Wangetafutaje mtu, it has to be competitive.
like but hata wangetafuta mtu ashikilie for a month and then do advertise.
What are they afraid
See,
of?
maybe they did promote someone to act and then before.
But then again, to ask what Olive is asking, what are they
You
afraid
people
of?
are just
What are
like
they?
the two of you are just
But
like
there's
the
a job
corporate
here.
world.
There's a
You
job
wawili
here.
siwaoni vizuri.
Look at it this way. There is a Kenyan out here looking for this
Yeah.
position.
sikatai ndugu, but me I'm looking at it from
Huruma.
yeah, because
Huruma.
for me najiambia ningetafuta tu mtu hata kama si haja qualify, because I'm sure in their circle they know someone.
know.
And
They
I've
actually
just-
have CVs.
yeah, and I've just looked for someone to just work there for a month, and then after that I advertise. That's
And are we not considering also the feelings of now the person who will be hired only for a month to just shikilia?
yeah, you communicate and tell them, and then you see maybe after a month you gauge
you
their
see if
work,
they
and
can
you're like
still-
if they can, yeah, and then you're like, okay, sir, we'll keep you.
But
Really.
But also it's the socialization I think is an African thing.
Yeah.
Because me
Yes.
working with Chinese, I remember there's a boss who you kept telling us, you Africans, you die a lot. Like every other week there was someone's grandmother that needed to be buried. sijui nini. And for us, they used to, the compassionate leave. Hawaelewi what that is.
Okay, yeah.
If your grandmother has died, see what wachimbe kaburi
Even-
wazike, wewe kesho ingia kazi. Yeah, so it was I think it's a cultural thing as well, the idea
is.
of extending grace to people who have met
Because
tragedy.
I've worked with a Hindu, and I remember that day we are at work. It wasn't a corporate, but it was just we are at work, and he says, "I've just lost my grandfather, and you're going for." And then he says, "I'll be back at 4."
Yeah.
Excuse me. Hata kama mnaenda kucremate, you'll just be back at
But then
4.
again,
for real, hiyo day tulikuwa tunamwangalia zile za
no, here's the thing. Me, that culture shock caught me when we went for a burial for a cuke in Langata. And then at 2 ati tumemaliza
wanarudi kufungua hardware.
Luo Nation could never. No way. First 2 weeks ya kupiga tu nduru. Hiyo hata bado hatujazika.
Third
But
week
anyway.
we formed the committee.
Reform
Then the 4th week now we work on the budget. And then now we start saying, okay, sasa ng'ombe itatolewa wapi nini.
Yeah.
Hata me I was actually surprised. And then you're like, oh, we are sorry. He's like, and it's okay. He
It's
drives
just
off.
death.
And then he came back, and true to his word, actually he came back before 4.
And their communities are more communal than ours. I'm wondering how they're not sensitive to that. Like, anyway. Hi. Me, my corporate experience. Umesema kwanza you were fired.
Yes. After that, of course, it made me feel bad. I won't let hata kama nakuanga gangster saying, I asked myself so many questions. Like sasa. So and I used to tell people, niliacha, it was a toxic environment.
Yeah.
Well, there was some toxicity, yes, but also I was to blame at some point because I just didn't love the job. And I took the job because my family now was getting worried. Brenda does not have a regular source of income.
That's also something.
So it was every day.
A real job.
Yeah, every day someone is pushing job
Vacancies,
vacancies. Umeapply na job say apply to. I'm like, ata hiyo kitu unaniambia nifanye sijui, but wewe ni sawa tu. I'm like, okay. So every day it was just like, umepata mahali, and you know how relatives ask, umepata mahali. Then when I got that job, I was like, nimepata finally.
Thank God.
So the questions ceased, and then when I quit, I remember by the time I was quitting pay, I was in a bad place mentally. I just told my brother, usiniulize kuhusu kazi. The savings I have will last. I had savings which I think lasted, plus I had a side hustle. I told my brother, usiniulize kuhusu kazi for now. Let me sort out my mental issues, and then we'll talk about kazi baadaye. Hey. And he didn't. Honestly, he didn't.
I think good people.
I will tell you, hata sahi my people are still worried because I don't have an 8 to 5. Will you believe it? Na hii miaka yangu yote.
Heri wewe. Mimi niko na 8 to 5 na bado natumia.
My brother calls
see engineering, what are you doing?
My brother calls me and tells me, "Sasa uko poa, ati salamu tu. Ati kuna makazi una apply." I'm like, na apply.
Why they also don't understand why people are worried for you when you never ask them for money.
I think it's
I hope
like
my brother
say,
doesn't watch this.
it's a culture thing. It's a culture thing to think of this other person, and I don't know if I'll put it in the way I see it, but I feel like most of us expect the worst in all situations. We do not have room for looking at the possibility of things going a good way. So when, especially in the creatives side of life, people are always expecting you to go broke, you know, to go back home.
Artist narrative.
Hauna, because the narrative out here is, look at so and so. Tulikuwa tunamwona kwa TV 3 years and then appeared on TV saying, sina do na nini. So this is all the literature they have about people in our industry. And therefore they worry so much that you're not stable, and their definition of stability is for you to wake up every day, go to a fixed office somewhere, and come back in the evening, you know, and that is the definition of a job for them, or a source of income. But for you look at the ways and the means of earning a living from a totally different perspective. You can work from whatever, you can work maybe a week for a whole month. You don't have to wake up every day
there's no routine.
Unaona. So they will keep sending those vacancies. Watashinda wakikuuliza, because they've never believed that really what you do is a real job.
It's a real job.
Even though you can prove to them that if I were in a real job with my qualifications, this is the much I would be earning, versus this is what I'm making right now, which may be either inatoshana na ile ama ni mingi kushinda ile ingine, because we know creatives that make much more than what they would if they followed what they did in school.
And you know, the worst part is when they're sending these ads, they always apologize. Like, sorry for bombarding. So like, I'm like, clearly you know you're doing something that I don't like. Hi, sasa, I hope you're well. Aki pole na jozi mekuwa mingi, but pole. I'm like, rolls eyes, but you can't literally roll eyes.
Do you ever apply? Okay.
Asiseme kwenye watapata documentation.
Wewe. The internet never forgets. When people might bump into this video, I will not lie, there are some I do. And I will be honest, I think the whole of this year I've been applying for jobs. Na sijapata. But zile zenye najituma, najiambia I'm doing a proposal, I need to approach such and such, I get. But hizi zenye you can see you've qualified. Zenye hadi unaambiwa, kwanza the skills I see you have them. I'm like, sawa, I'll apply. But the whole of this year I've done some consultancies that I have pushed myself to, but hizi zingine na apply sipati, so I don't know if it's a sign from the universe as well.
Maybe.
Also, it's just a broken system where people are announcing
You
jobs
know,
that don't
That
exist.
don't exist. Ama they already have the
vacancies
people.
for wako na wase.
Wako na
Wako
mtu
na wase
tayari,
already,
yeah.
yeah.
Hii inaenda tu for the books.
For the books,
yeah.
We advertised and people applied.
Yeah. Man, adulting.
There's something Ndugu has said that I would like to reiterate. My dad used to say that, because in the very beginning, he was like, just get an internship even if it's not paying. And for him, he was like, going to work an 8 to 5, for them, they look at it as discipline. Like waking up at a particular time, going and doing these tasks, finishing them at a particular time, planning out your day, having a calendar, knowing how your week works. For him, it was a lot more, it gives you discipline. And then later on in life, someone told me something that I felt they should go seek therapy. But but I was just like, maybe that's how people reason as well. Someone told me that them having a job sort of stabilized them in life. Like they felt like, now I can have a family. And they told me to my face, Olive, that's why you're still not settled. Because
Hey.
What is the definition of
what is
being-
settlement?
Yeah,
settle
exactly.
is marrying and having children and
Oh my
having a family.
God.
There are genuinely people who believe that
And that can only
a
be
job,
achieved
yeah,
through an 8 to 5.
yes. Apparently, these other sort of jobs, they don't discipline you. So it's a matter of discipline. I honestly struggle to see it, but it's a perspective I've gotten now from my dad. And this random person who I met was a neighbor a couple of years back.
I will say this, that I think people that do not have that routine actually end up being the most disciplined
Yeah.
people in the working environment. I'll give an example. Whenever I am having my writing engagements, I'm very particular with the sources. For example, if I'm interviewing you today, I'm very particular with, if I set a meeting for 8, I'll make sure that I'm there 30 minutes before,
Yeah.
so that when you get there, I don't waste your time.
Yeah.
Then if I say the interview is maybe 30 minutes long, that is
How long?
how long that interview will be.
Yeah.
Then if I have deadlines to meet, I know if I don't meet those deadlines, it means I won't get paid. So I need really to meet deadlines.
Yeah.
So for me, discipline is not in structure. Discipline is in your head. It's in you realizing that I am doing this. It determines my survival.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You see, as opposed to corporate people,
You're
no hate
assured of a
again.
salary.
You are assured of a salary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're assured if today I wake up and say, I'm calling in sick, they will have a quick fix to whatever it is
Yeah.
that you wanted to do that day. But for you, usipoenda hiyo consultancy,
Najua sina maybe my
exactly,
rent for
hauna
the
rent,
next
hauna
year,
nini.
sina
So
food,
in
sina-
terms
yeah.
of discipline, I think there needs to be a shift in the way people think
Mentality,
of
yeah.
whatever settlement means to people and whatever discipline means to people, because I believe out here discipline yako ndio survival yako.
True.
Yes.
Very
And what
indisciplined
happens
people.
when those structures crash? So
Exactly.
does it mean you don't have your own internal discipline that you can operate
I think
with?
that's when the structures crash. That's when you hear people are depressed because they lost a job. People are thinking of suicide because they lost a job. And if you, and like you who's used to, if I work for this 1 week, I have money for the next 3 months.
Yes.
And then to also plan it out. Unajua hii ndo season ya
Hii ndio-
kazi.
exactly,
So
like-
rent has to be paid through the lower seasons. Like it's a lot. Yeah.
I think when you speak of your dad and this other person, for me it's around, and as Ndugu says, I think we have a lot of unlearning to do.
True.
We have a lot of unlearning to do. As I don't know if as millennials, as whoever, we just have a lot of unlearning to
As
do. And
millennials.
and
Hey.
I've come to realize that as you grow older, there are things you like, and you just need to unlearn. Like you can just sit at home and do your thing and get more money compared to someone who
Yes.
True.
commutes every day, 5 days a week to work. So I think for me, it's always
And
we
you
have
not identifying with your work.
and you exactly
Like who are you outside of?
outside of
Yeah. We
so
didn't know
we have a
that.
lot of, for me it's always, we have a lot of unlearning to do, and I think that's what that's also something that needs to be introduced as a course
It
or
should.
something.
Yes.
Because you come out, because for me, I remember telling myself, namaliza campus, nitafanya kazi kwa bank, nilikuwa natamani kufanya kazi kwa bank. Well, let me,
Thank God you didn't.
I used to admire until a friend of mine told me, I do not admire those ladies. Wanakasirikanga wamevaa hizo masuti zao. I was like, okay. But in my head I was always like, I want to get at namaliza campus, I work at a bank, get married at 25, drive my car 26,
Moment of
finish.
silence to
I
check
know.
It was planned.
Yeah, like by 30
So,
nilikuwa
will
nimaliza.
you graduate at what age?
I graduated when I was 21 for sure.
21.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you were young.
Yeah, I was young. I graduated when I was 21. So nilikuwa nimejiambia at
You'll
22,
give yourself
23
3
nita
years.
tarmac, and then maybe 23, 24 nipate hiyo job ya bank. 25 I meet the love of my life. I get married, bado na kwa bank nava heels kwenda job, you know.
na suti.
Can we laugh together? I am
You're telling me
29.
vanity.
I have never worked in a bank.
Ubatili.
I have never sijavaa heels every day. Sijavaa suti. I don't have children. Let's just laugh together, you know.
I think for us the problem was getting that, like, being trained on what life will look like by Gen Xers and baby boomers. Life was completely different for them. Systems sort of worked for them. There were structures. Now, I remember my dad was just insisting, Olive, get a job, sign a 5-year contract. Sijai in my 9 years of working seen a contract.
That's a whole decade.
Yeah, more than a year.
More than it. Oh, really?
Yes, every job I've gone to, you sign a 1-year contract. These
Then
contracts older people talk about here, 5 years, 10 years. I've never seen with my eyes. So you realize that we also have, I don't know if we can teach them to just not put the pressure on us, because maybe it will take a long time for them to unlearn that. But sahi vitu the tricks.
I think the best way to teach them is to boldly live our lives.
Yes.
That's true.
Because when they see it, I believe they will know that this is like the new way of doing things. Because like Olive is saying, when was the last time ulisikia, apart from sports people, that people signed a 3-year contract? Just 3. And this is
Actually, I mean, nasikianga 1 or 2 years.
Exactly.
Hata 2 years sijaiona.
because
Okay,
for most corporates and most companies, they are looking at their best interest.
Yeah.
They have been through this grail for some time, and they know in 1 year you can transform to be anything. You can be better or even worse than you are right now. And we need not to bank on you so much, because also the business environment is changing. We might need a leaner workforce than unaona. So what happens if we get into a contract with you for 5 years? We now have to compensate you for the remaining period. And we don't want to make such kind of losses. So let's make one or get into a contract for 1 year that is safer for us as a company.
Yeah.
And for you also to prove yourself in the 1 year of, your contract duration.
Yeah.
Jitume.
Jitume,
But companies are also ruthless. In that 1-year contract, there's a 6-month probation.
Imagine.
Again, in their best interest. Because imagine,
like they always look like hata wanajiambia we have to tread carefully, wasijifunge sana na wewe. So
But if you look at corporate, it's basically just capitalism. It's this monster
Promax
that doesn't care about
capitalism.
anyone, and you're just a number. Hiyo vile unasema umekufa. Them they've just lost a number. If they've lost 99, higher.
part of the story.
100 asonge, tutafute ule mwingine a replace. So
me, I remember there's even a time my grandmother called me and Liza, umepata mahali? I was like, no, not yet. And then she goes ahead. Then my brother used to work in the county, Kisii County. I was like, I've spoken to your brother. Ati hata akutafutie tu kazi ya kufagia.
Hey.
Nakwambia.
Did you feel insulted?
But you see, it's my grandmother.
It's your grandma,
I was like, me hata I will not even argue with her. So I was like, oh, okay, sawa, wacha nitamsikizia.
Hata ya kufagia.
Hata unasikia, hata ya kufagia. And just as you say, your father, my brother has been pushing me to get into the government, like to get a PNP position. I tried, and I hope but I will block my brother for
For a week.
I sit up to me. Do you know? So there was a job that was advertised at some ministry. He calls me, tells me, Niaje sees. I'm like, okay. So me, I'm like, tunapiga story. I'm like, kuna hii job umeona? I had seen the advert, yes. And he's like, umeapply? Nikamwambia sija apply. Ati kwa nini? Nikamwambia hivyo tu. Ati najua msee fulani so the person he knew is someone I also know. Kaniambia atatusaidia. Kaniambia hebu call. So I call the guy. The guy tells me, I'm not vile kazi za gavani, and tells me you'll need to part with some amount. You know?
So who do you need to pay, him or some other people?
So he told me he knows the head of that ministry. Not the PS, like the department. He's his friend, which ni ukweli ni beshte yake.
Yeah.
My guys, nilitafuta pesa.
Oh my lord.
I looked for the money. Am I in PNP right now?
Well. Ulioshwa?
Am I in PNP right now?
Ulioshwa ama you didn't get the money?
I got the money. What do you mean?
She did.
I am actually still paying for that money.
No.
For real. 200,000.
Jesus Christ. 200 G's.
Yeah.
The job was going to pay?
The job, you see, and this is, and when
It's
I
an
tell
investment.
When I tell you we have a lot of unlearning to do, I sat down and later I was asking myself, Brenda,
What was that?
what umefanya nini? Like you couldn't tell your brother, no, I don't want this job. The job was going to pay me 48,000 a month, and I'm not lying. But it was PNP. You see the way my brother really told me, unajua ni PNP, ukishaingia PNP you
when
just
they
take
say PNP is over,
you just take a loan and do your projects. Then in my head that it was so lucrative. I was like, by the way, then now after
And
I've
then
just
it's government. What are the chances that it will crumble?
Yeah, after I've just sent the money, I'm like, Brenda, you couldn't just tell your brother no. Like, I don't want to work.
That's equivalent to what? 4 months of your...
Yeah, because now I know
the salary, the actual salary.
If I were to get into that PNP, that meant chances of me practicing what I'm doing right now zilikuwa low. So I sat down. I didn't even cry. I was just blaming myself. I was like, Brenda, ungeambia tu brother ako no, you don't want to do that, you're focused on something else. So see, we've paid the money. I call the guy, he tells me now after a week my other brother calls me and tells me, because when I was looking for the money I had asked him for money. He calls me and tells me, niaje psis. I'm like, poa sana mambo. Ati kwani ile job iliendaje? I'm like, hata mimi nangoja. Ati si nimepatana na beshti yangu mwenye kazini yake anafanya huko walishachukuliwa.
Shit.
Now I call my firstborn bro. I ask him, naambiwa hivi na hivi, nakamwambia ati bwacha niongee na mse. He calls the guy. Like it was a whole thing. He calls the guy tells him ati bado nashughulikia. After some time I called the guy, I asked him, mimi nataka tu niambie hii job iko ama iko, and of course I knew the money wasn't going to come back.
Yes.
You know? He tells me najona no mtu ataneza tusukumia nini zingine.
Another one,
Guys, if I tell you, but I'm almost done with paying the money. But
when was that? Like mwaka gani hiyo?
Guys, we are talking of, is it this year?
23.
Akianani.
It's not last year, it's this year.
Wow.
Me kama sija fall into depression. Me, I am a strong woman. I'm a black.
I'm bado uko denial. Why?
No, honestly speaking, at some point I hated my brother. I felt so bad. I even had to call my therapist and ask and tell her the whole thing.
Yeah.
And therapists don't tell you know where. And then my therapist tells me, okay, now you know, you should, if ungemwambia tu no from the beginning, haungekuwa kwa hii shida. I was like, okay. Now my brother relocated. So let me tell you. My brother relocated to the UK. My brother now is pressurizing me to relocate. My guys. Me nakwambia pressure itanimaliza hiki.
There's a lot of if you
don't
stand your
ground. Because now my brother is telling me, huku atina bidii unakuanga nayo, pesa utatengeneza. And I'm like, do I want to do that?
Yes.
So now he's been asking me, I'm like,
and also yours will come. Like don't force it. Ile, what is that saying for Kiswahili? Mwenzako chako dirisha
ukiona cha mwenzio
chanyolewa tia chako maji.
no
Not that
and something usilalie dirisha wazi.
bahati ya mwenzio usilalie.
Yes,
Hey,
nyewe ya
chako.
badi Kiswahili.
Yeah, but my lord, there.
but you
That's
see
why I'm telling you, make sure. I will make sure I'm actually going to. I will make sure my brother does not see, because this is the first time I'm actually talking about that. I normally joke about it with people, but it's the first time I'm talking about it in a podcast. Yeah, so to make up it here.
pole.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense.
And there are
but
times,
I can,
just-
and then when the person who's advising you or giving you that is a trusted person, there's a very high
There's
chance
that
of
as
you
well.
feeling like, of course, it's coming from a good place.
And most time they are trusted people.
Yeah.
They are your brothers, your mother,
Uncles,
like very close, family
close
members or
family,
friends. And everyone, I don't know from what point, because I have never been at a place where I'm that person advising people or pressurizing people or telling them fanyeni hivi na hivi, but I don't know wanatoka from where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But I see a lot of that. I remember when now I left the other institution.
Where you are the IT something.
Yes.
Okay.
First, I didn't tell so many people. Sikuambia watu wengi sana. Niliambia tu. I had just gotten married. And now, that in itself was a complication. Because a new household, a bigger house, then no job and all these things. I had kidogo savings that would last us, pay house rent for say 10, 11 months and maintain our lifestyle for those 10 months.
10 months.
But then 10 months, living in this country, you could actually be jobless for 20 years. I've seen people that graduated, I think, in 2000. We're in 2024. Those are 24 years. They've never landed a job. Not even once. Now, even when you are sure that your savings will last you a certain amount of time, there's always a constant fear. And I think this is part of what informs the people that pile pressure on you to keep on sending you things. Because mi nilikuwa napata vitu zingine hata najiuliza, what was your thought process before nitumie hii kitu?
Exactly.
Unaona, ananitumia tu kikitu, engineering.
Agricultural officer.
Mimi you never know, jaribu tu. Mimi najiuliza aje. I took actuarial science. So engineering is a very technical thing. But because, like Olive says, the system is so broken, it is very easy for you to land a job in an engineering capacity while you did
when you've done drama, like I've
Exactly.
done drama, but utanipata kwa engineering.
wewe ndio chief engineer.
Chief engineer.
Lakini ulifanya drama, so una incorporate drama kwa engineering. Unacheki.
Imagine.
So it's very dramatic.
In front of you is Lami.
Is a house.
Is a house.
So nilikuwa tunapata tu I used to receive a lot. Like now word spread, maybe 2-3 months down the line, wase wengi wakajua siko job. So anybody that would land, sometimes it's even a fake ad or maybe a scam. And people really do not do their due diligence. Msi anacheki tu kikitu kimeadvertisiwa.
Anakumbuka Brenda hana 825 ndio
UN imeadvertise position ya Secretary General. You know the UN.
Guy.
UN inataka Secretary General. Brenda ndio huyo sasa. So tunakutumia position. Like I don't know where the pressure comes from, but I think also it's the fear and constant focus on things will go bad. 10 months down the line, I still did have a job. We still had a house, and we still had all the amenities that we needed.
But did you have like other gigs coming in?
I started now doing other things that spoke to me or spoke to the things that now I wanted to do in life. That is when I started writing.
Okay.
Like actively. But hata hiyo introduction, ilipatiwa introduction moja noma sana. I did quite a good project. I took part in a campaign for a big unga dealer in this country. Msali ni approach tu kwa DM ya Facebook. Mi napenda story zako, sijui nini. So unajua, kwanza wakani marinate, nikasikia vizuri. And then sasa, kuna hii project tunafanya. We do hivi, niandikie scripts 3, kali.
Cheza kama wewe.
I did 3.
For real.
1, 2, 3 scripts for radio spots. Nani anakuambia nilisikia? Napita tu hivi Maina and Kingangi in the morning nikiwa kwa matatu Nairobi. Nasikia wait a minute.
That's my script.
Hii kitu sounds familiar.
Yeah.
Nikaangalia email nikasema akiana word for word.
Yeah.
That was the first one. Then the second one they implemented it in their second campaign. And the third one nikiwa sasa nimeshaji find kwa hii industry ndio ninaona I did not sign a contract. I did not, there wasn't hakukuwa na system, hakukuwa na structure in our engagement. It was just a guy approaching me on Facebook and sharing their email, and then me knowing very well that this is where I want to get to. Kafanya haraka, I sent them, and lo and behold, they took my scripts to agencies. This is what we want you to work with.
And I think also it comes from when you give that out without any formal agreement, it's because it's coming from we have no idea, we can't even picture that writing can pay.
So it can annual living.
Yeah, even me, the first time I got a job where I was writing, I was like, unanilipa yani unanilipa niandike, because my whole life it was drummed into me that yes, you're a good writer, but haitalipa if and me, I was not writers like you who are serious. I wasn't. I didn't want to write a book. I think the only serious writer is I was like, I can't write a book. I can't write a newspaper. I'm just very creative. I can put something together, but it's not. I can't do
conventional writing.
Yeah, it's not conventional writing. And so it was just like, what are you supposed to do with this? And so I didn't believe it would ever pay. So when someone is approaching you in that sense, you're just like, even when you're doing it, hata kama ingekuwa kulipe, ulijua unafaa kulipwa how much?
Exactly. So that is now my other conundrum. Because my next client, or the next person that now gave me a gig, aliniambia tu, fanya hivi, send me a rate card as I send you.
Your team ulikuwa unajua rate card.
Najua rate card nini. As I send you the contract, you look nikatumia contract ya 6 pages. Man, I am going through this document. I'm wondering, you guys, we just simplify this. Tell me how much you're paying me. And at that time, I was willing to get anything. Like, if you paid me 5 Gs, I was okay, because writing for me is such an easy thing. It's like ni kama kunywa maji. I don't struggle. If you tell me write about this seat, I will get 1,000 words to to tell a story about the seat. So when you tell me that you're going to pay me, for me at first it was really a favor that you're paying me for something that I've never thought is an income earner for me. So next person asked me, nipatie rate card. I had to go to them man to man. Mwambie Buddha.
Man to man.
Mimi sijui rate card ni niambie tu.
Niambie tu unanilipa ngapi,
what the hell is a rate card? So the guy sent me his rate card.
Okay.
Hey, nikona huku nje watu wanakula vizuri. And the guy is a writer. So he's subcontracting me too, because yeye ako na majob mingi. Akaniambia Buddha, I think unaweza weza. So when I saw that rate card, it opened my eyes. And now I started seeing that this is actually a thing that people get paid for their skills. Not just, the conventional skills. I'm IT, or I'm an accountant or whatnot. People get paid for such things. Sometimes even for voiceovering ads. And I'm out here not knowing that I didn't have to work in a bank to earn a living. I didn't have to. I could have ningemaliza tu niseme degree meisha so let me go to things
So
that
let me go, yeah.
really make sense to me. Yes.
But don't you also feel like like working in the bank sort of plays a huge role in the bigger picture, in the like the now full story later on in your life? Because there are places where I've worked and I look back and I'm like, if I'd have never worked there, I'd have probably taken that job now. And right now I know, since I worked there, I know you will not pay me any amount of money to work in such a company. So maybe it was, in the sense, building you in that.
Yes.
Now you know. Because me, there are places now I just know. Aki unaonanga hata vacancy. Yes, you're desperate. But unajua tu. Hapa haiwezi. And
I think it's true because one of the greatest lessons I left with from corporate is communication. And in this industry, communication is very, very important.
Yeah.
People need to tell you when they're giving you a brief. They need to tell you, these are our expectations. These are our timelines. These are maybe the target audience. Communication has to be very solid and has to be very concrete. And when I was in the bank, even though saizi we throw jibes at them when they say, oh, I hope this finds you well.
Yeah.
You know, it's
on a Monday morning.
The romanticization of language that even though I am angry at you, I still,
there's business language.
Exactly, there's business language.
Yeah.
And I think for me, it was a preparation for me to come out here because again, in this industry that I am in currently, people don't care. Like I'm telling you, the first 2 jobs I got, people approached me via Facebook DM. No official dom, no nothing. Hakuna mse ati kwa email, I hope this finds you well. Mse anani offer job na ananiambia Buda, ebu nisaidie namba yako ama Buda, ebu niandikie hii na hii na hii. Unaona? So for me, I think one, it allowed me to understand communication and very importantly, budgeting. Because with the first 30K that I used to get, I needed to know what kind of a house I need to live in.
Yeah, that's true.
Unaona vitu kama hizo. So right now, I'm using part of what I learned then to understand that in this industry now, I could get paid per quarter.
Yeah.
So what happens in the months that I do not, have a constant income? I need to maybe pay my rent upfront or maybe have enough so that when rent is due, nitalipa, or when bills are due. Those are the lessons for me, I think.
Mine is a different one. For the corporate, I'll be on, and I'm not being selfish or anything. I don't think I learned much from the corporate job. I actually learned so much from my own business. I had an omena business. I used to deep fry omena, package them nicely, and sell.
You stopped?
I stopped. Yeah.
Why?
Supplier. So what happened is I sat down, came up with a logo, came up with a name, came up with a logo, printed those things, went and looked for the tins, packaged the nini. Nikafungwa the Facebook page, Instagram page, and I sat down, nikapiga hesabu, if I'm using let's say 5Gs to get the omena, I need to return the 5Gs and make more money. I actually learned so much from my omena business because customer tells you deliver it at 10, text you at 9:50, nakwambia nataka omena at 10. I know, I know I want the money, but you won't, because I've clearly told you guys, I'm doing deliveries 3 days a week. Or for this week, I tell you I'm doing deliveries 2 days a week. And I actually text you and tell you, if you want orders, please let me know. So there's no, you'll text me at 9:50, you want omena at 10. And I start running around like a headless chicken. So I learned so much in that, because customers can really push you to the wall.
I know.
I learned so much about branding and positioning my product. I learned so much on dealing with the people who, because I employed people. I tell someone, enda chukua omena, osha, anika nini. Someone tells you, leo kukuwa na omena, but when you talk to someone else, there's omena. So how will you handle that? So for me, I think my business was actually helped me it taught me so much when it comes
Yes.
to communication, when it comes to budgeting, when it comes to branding. I learned so much compared to the corporate job I had.
Yeah.
Aki, my business is what really, actually the skills I learned, because that's when I learned how to use Canva.
Yeah.
Because you ask someone tengeneze logo anakwambia 5,000.
Ningekuwa nayo.
Unadhani unaambia mtu sijui like the quotes I used to get, so nilienda Canva and the first logo I made was hideous. Then I kept improving on it, and that's how I learned how to use Canva. That's how I learned how to just tell customers, if you want an order by 4, please let me know in advance. Because it's not like I didn't have a shop. I'm not in town like this, and you tell
Waiting
me,
for
clients. And I was very categorical. I told people I do not have a shop, so this and this days, this and this timelines, evil. Yeah. For me, I learned so much. So nowadays, you tell me, do you want something to be done by 12? You text me at 11. If I'm in a position to, I will. If I'm not, I'll just tell you.
Mine isn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say mine is tangible skills per se. What I've learned in corporate so much is I've been able to understand the psychology of systems.
Okay.
So right now, if something happens in a company, I can guarantee you, I can predict, I can tell you exactly what's going to happen next week or the week after that, or the fate of someone in a company. I can be able to tell all those things. I know the companies I don't want to work for. And you see, like the same way you get a job and you are thinking, I'm a banker,
I know.
Pan-African.
Napanda bus.
Even me, the first gig I got, fresh out of campus. Okay, I had gigs here and there, but now an 8 to 5 fresh out of campus was at Safaricom Eldoret.
Hey.
Same, tunaingia 7:30, sijui tunafunga sijui 6:45, hata sikumbuki hizo hours. But you see how Safaricom is held in so much reverence. Yeah. So I was just like, you've gotten a job there, even everyone only wako na job staff, only wako hata work staff. Nilikuwa nauza simu ya Huawei Safaricom, but only works at
duka ya Safaricom.
Kwa duka ya Safaricom. And then I got to experience Safaricom ndani, and I swear to you, to date, me, I like working for startups, small companies. Those big companies, I have some apprehension about them because it looks glam, but inside, it's ridiculous. People are taking loans. People don't have money. People and you work in the biggest company ever. By the time I was quitting, everyone thought I was mad.
Yeah.
Unachaje kazi Safaricom. Like
Safaricom of all the places. I was told you will regret this. Leaving my job at Safaricom is one of the reasons I left Eldoret, because I couldn't deal with the voices. Nikakuja tu Nairobi nikasema huko hakuna mtu ananijua, we start afresh. But I just know what companies not to work for, and I'm also I know how to play those games now. Nikiingia an interview, I can read exactly what the company culture is. I can tell mtu ako na tabia gani. I can tell who to watch out for, who to befriend.
A new level, whole different level.
So for me, I'm able to milk like benefits of companies when I'm working there 8 to 5, but just by understanding the psychology and knowing, hiyo yenye unasema walituambia ati you get rewarded with more work. You get to a point where I know I'm very good at everything, but ukifika mi sijaiona Canva in my life. I don't know what you're saying. Find someone to do graphics design. See wewe ndo ufanye social media, ufanye graphics because you're super talented. All those things, it's just the psychology
and
of it.
They make it, because I've had this so many times. Ati we fanya to at least boss could notice. So if I'm doing nifanye social media, bado nifanye kazi yangu, bado at least ata no you
And me, my eyes opened when someone told me that effort that you're putting, imagine if it was going into your own, like that money that you're making is going into your own pocket. So when you do socials, graphics, writing, imagine if you were doing that for your company, but you're doing it for someone who's going to make millions out of it and then pay you like a 10K.
Because the thing is, companies know, and companies have budgets for these people. You see, a company has and can have a budget for a person doing socials, a person doing graphics, a person doing
editorial
na vitu mingi. But what they want to collapse all these things because kuna mtu tu, there is a hard worker somewhere that imagines this is their way to promotion and, to excellence and all these things. I will use a very bad example. When Bob Collymore died, rest in peace, it was widely expected that there were people that had been groomed for that position. I mean, we had Akina Sylvia Mulinge and the likes. These were people that had been with the company for 20 years. I do not know the politics around that position.
Yeah.
But from a very generalized observation is that I felt like it was time for the company to have a person that was, inbred and that had grown up with the company. And a person whose effort and skills and competence we had all seen. But again, we don't get to decide that. But look at who they went for. They went for a totally different guy. Somebody that had barely worked in this country. He's Kenyan, yes, but had barely worked in this country. Alikuwa amefanya kazi kwingine na kwingine. And now they brought him. Paid him a lot of money. Like this guy can survive the entire year with the salary he earns in a month. And his lifestyle doesn't have to change. Unaona? So you work very hard. You build systems for other people, but the systems have no way of recognizing you. Unaona? When that time comes for the system to make decisions, they will make decisions that favor them, and not you.
And if anything, hard workers get rewarded with more hard work, and then the laziest are the ones who manage to thrive in that capitalist system. Because it's basically, just look at the Kenyan government or an African government. That's how it works in corporate. And I usually tell people, this is why I say sometimes I fantasize about being stupid. Because genuinely, I'd have been a happier person.
I know.
If I didn't know the things
it's
I
very
knew.
costly to
I think
to be a thinker.
Just as you've said it, I've just thought about it. So let's say I'm the social media manager and I just choose to do my job. And then there's you who's maybe the
graphics.
You want to do graphics. You want to do you want to do other things. I feel like at times the minute you start, which is we can always debate around it. When you want to do your job, do someone else's job. And then there's me who's just doing my job and doing it perfectly. I do. If I was to post at 10 times a day, I post and the captions are, precise, and I'm just doing my job. Compared to you, unataka kuingia hii, ufanye hii, ukifanya hii, kuna ka small error, ukifanya hii, kuna ka small error. So when they are discussing, they're like, look at Brenda's work. It's there's
that's what they'll see.
Exactly. So at me, I'm like, you know what? Just kuwa mjinga. As you say, kuwa tu mjinga. Fanya kile likupeleka huko, maliza, toka. Pata pesa yako, rudia. Ishia.
But I think Gen Z are also revolutionizing the workspace. So it's very beautiful.
Which is a very
watch.
good thing.
Yeah.
Have you worked with Gen Z?
Of course, my entire team has always been Gen Z.
Amazing people to work with.
I know.
And
of course they remind you're old,
which I don't mind. I've always said age has come with more money. So 20.
I like how they'll just tell you, no, it's not my work. Ask her. That's not my. But I'm like, okay,
which is true.
Mbona mimi sikuwa hivyo nikiwa 20.
But me, I've been a Gen Z stuck in millennial. Me, I've operated like that, and that's why I've worked in 9 companies at my age. Because I haven't been me for the longest. I've been a people pleaser, but one thing that has helped me is nakwanga kichwa ngumu pia saa ingine. If I don't want to, I'll just go. For me, I don't. I'm normally not attached to the people I work with or the companies I work with. Ikifika to place, even my brother tells me, "Mimi napendanga vile wewe move on." Wow, you ni bamba. So ikifika to place, I'm like, sitaki. Nitaamka na niende, and I will not even feel ati ye nitasonga. Also, if you're managing people, it's just easier if maybe that came to me easily because I'm sort of an advocate for justice. So even if I have a 10K budget and you're supposed to do socials, I won't try and exploit you. If I'm trying to get someone to do something for me, I will only get you if I can pay you. I don't believe in free labor. So maybe it also works in the sense that if you yourself, you have your own values that are humanly.
Yeah.
But of course, we're operating in a world where people are just monsters. And so you have to, what is it called? Discernment. Ujue tu who you're dealing with.
Society.
Haya. Someone else said, don't stick to your career job. Ikikata, please try something else. Mimi hata kitu nilisomea shule najiuliza paka leo wanifund school fees. I did do journalism.
Yeah.
But even in school, I knew there's no way I'm going to a newsroom. I knew there's no way. Nenda.
Ulifanya broadcast journalism.
Yes. And I did... Writing has always come easy to me, but also I knew I'm not writing for a newspaper. And then I'm also mad at school. This is actually the entire system, because even when we were doing that journalism, it was very limited how they presented it to us. So if all 1,000 of us were supposed to come out and either be a columnist, a reporter, a news anchor. Me, I came out here, I realized, wait, I can do voiceovers. Wait, I can just write creative pieces for people. Imagine I can write love letters. Na mtu atanilipa. Kuna mtu hajui to express how they feel for their lover. Sure. There was endless. I was like, there was magazines. I worked for a magazine. Why wasn't I told this? Why was I told I'm just supposed to be in a newsroom?
Mainstream.
And then hata yo newsroom haujaambiwa kuwa hakuna mshahara, ni brown envelopes. Utakimbishana na politicians in Nairobi wewe.
Does it sustain?
I think, because that my problem was they just taught us, but they, because I did drama, and then there are courses we took from your department as well, and I remember there's a lecturer insisting we need to do radio. Akinilikuwa nakasiri. Like it's how they tell you you need to be an actor, you need to be a director. Like they just
it's very
teach you to think in one way. You know. And because for me, I have learnt about whatever I'm doing, this applied theatre. Tukiwa third year, the lecturer aligusia, but she didn't go in depth about it. So when I've started doing my masters, I meet this other lecturer who's really good at it. Hadi namwangalianga najiuliza, mbona unafundisha tena? You know, you can make so much money out here.
See, they want to impart the knowledge. Mbona unafikiria tu pesa? See, we need more applied.
Yeah, like I always look at him and I'm asking myself, wait, uko sure hata juzi nimemuuliza, uko sure unataka kuendelea? Just like, yeah, he said the same thing. It's not all about money. Like, yeah, okay. So it's how but in hindsight, there are other universities. Don't you think maybe it's the university you went to?
I don't think so. I really don't think so, because I've met people from other universities as I'm working.
And the story is the same.
The story is the same.
Yeah.
I think, you see, I went to nilienda kufanya actuarial science time yenye bado haikukuwa a thing.
How long was that course?
4 years.
Oh, it's 4.
It's not 5
it's only 4. Unaona sasa?
It's not 5.
That is now the wide misconception that people had. First, nilisikia actuarial science nikiwa form 2, and it was just something that was mentioned by my business studies teacher. Akaisema, hey,
hata leo kiniuliza what actuarial science is, I don't know.
Wewe ni mzuri. Wewe because ujaisoma. So many people went through it and they can't tell you what it is about.
Okay.
Even
So you see,
political science.
Exactly. So you see,
the sense of politics.
So here's the thing, you get into this thing, and the system had not adequately prepared to prepare actuarial scientists. So what happened is guys were getting into universities, and universities were establishing this course so that they could attract a certain demography of students. So unapata university, Masinde Muliro, Maseno, whatnot, wameleta hii course, and then they twitch it by saying actuarial science with IT.
Oh yeah.
And then guys just get in. The people facilitating, or the people now teaching this course, are students of masters and PhD that are looking for ways to make money. So they do not have industry knowledge. They are just guys that mtu anakufunza because there are so many mathematics based courses in actuarial. Mtu anachukua say ordinary differential equations, anawafunza, he's good at it, anakufunza, but nobody is really saying how is this applicable in the industry. It's very applicable, but nobody is linking it to the industry. Everybody is linking it to cut is 30%, the main exam is 70. So you guys build your whole thinking around 30 and 70, and all this thing will culminate to a GPA of what not. I want a first class honors nini. So we get a lot of them that have first class honors and second class upper divisions that really do not know what the industry is about, what actuarial is. So if you ask the industry, do you require as many actuarial scientists as the universities are churning out, for example? The answer is no. But that is not the true statement of affairs, because like Olive is saying, nobody is telling you that with this degree you can venture out and become create another industry by yourself. Like Olive anasema, voiceover or voiceovering has been in existence from
the
longest, and you didn't even know who does this.
Exactly, unasikianga tu raid inaua inzi wote ujui ni nani who does this, who records it, who writes these scripts. Where do they record this? So you can actually form a whole industry by being the guy that facilitates voiceover artists, looks for them, trains them, does nini, writes for them scripts, provides a platform where they can record. That's an entire industry. It doesn't have to be that wewe as a journalist and a capital. Okay, because a capital ni Murembe. Murembe FM na ujui Kiluya. Unaona? It becomes a struggle that shouldn't really be a struggle for people that have gone to school properly. But now the nexus or the connection between what is taught for the industry and what the industry is expecting, that now should be the real education. Which for most courses and for most disciplines hatuna. Apart from Masewa Become, the rest of us na Masewa Education, the rest of us tumepotea. Because unajua ukiwa mwalimu ukisoma psychology na usome hesabu na nini unaenda unakuwa mwalimu wa hesabu, understanding the psychology of students. That's it.
Hapo kwa psychology of students, did teachers really learn about psychology?
Our teachers know. I think the current ones, yes.
Really? I hope so, because
walimu tunaona TikTok, I think they have a bit of psychology.
Yes.
Our way to.
I know they take some units in psychology.
They do.
That I know. I'm just not sure how
they apply.
They apply. I'm not just sure what units they are. Maybe we'll about to introduction to psychology and that's it.
But I also think psychology should just be common across, because for me, even like managing a team, me imagine I created the best team ever because I understood the personalities. So Ndugu only understands text better than a video. Ndugu nitamtengezea tutorial ya text. Kama there's another person in the team who likes video better, nitamtumia a YouTube video afuate. So like that, you're able to meet your people in the middle, and you find it's easy. Kama nimelewa haraka, I can execute faster, and we get to look at it. So I think psychology is... psychology has saved me a lot of drama. We have
done communication with psychology.
With psychology.
Not
or
with
just
IT.
Psychology. Unaona vile it was important for people to start with communication as a basic unit. As a compulsory unit. Psychology then should be it. Because you realize you're preparing people to go and work with other people, not to be islands. So they need to know how people think and how to think when they meet other people's thoughts. Because mtu upatana na wall, kama vile Olive anasema, a person that understands videos better than text. And then wewe, because training yako imekufunza text.
Unajaribu wewe
text ndio text sasa.
Me I have so much. Imagine I'll do sijui hata nitafanya tu season mzima ya education system because I feel like I've been failed completely by the education system. I'm not a dumb child, but somehow I was made to believe I am. And I'm very like squeezing the number of things I know. I'm just like just because the method of teaching
I think it
wasn't the method of my learning. Nimejam sana.
Pumua.
But yeah,
I think, but for me, you know, when I tried, I think mi nilikuwa too extra in campus. I tried doing psychology units, but zilikuwa zina clash na classes zangu, and then you see you can't move all these people who work around your timetable. So I was just like, you know what?
Yeah,
forget. Nikawacha.
but
I was,
but
because in
also,
my
like,
head, I was also thinking of when I was actually called to do drama. I remember an uncle of mine told me, "Sijaisahau your text. Enda ubadilishe to a serious course."
hey my lord,
Imagine.
Wow.
So when we
but even me, I used to wonder
What
if you
you're
guys
doing.
were actually studying. I understood the one
But you
studying
spent most
music.
of the time in
I
our
know notes,
department.
I know. What were drama? I was just like, you're actually studying
And then for 4 years.
theater for 4 years. Yeah, that's what it was very wild to me. And then in my industry as well, when I started like looking for gigs here and there, I noticed the 4 years of a degree was sort of wasting me because we had people who'd done their diplomas and they were on the ground and they had the skills, the on-ground
Industry
skills
skill.
that were required on the job. Mimi nimefika kwa ground ndio unaanza kulearn afresh. Everything you did in class was theory. Now you're starting to learn how things actually work. I mean, it was just wild.
You had 2 cameras.
We had for the entire school.
2 cameras.
If you want a cameras, you have to book it a month in advance. So akiata situliteseka.
But I think that's public because I've heard about the same from Akina Masinde, Akina KU, and I thought those were established schools. So I think it's just see the way the system is broken in the government. It trickles down to all parastatals literally
and to everything and generally unaona system ni mbaya from gava inakuja public institutions zote where you will now go to look for employment
to learn,
to private institutions or private companies and corporates to even the family. The fact that people do not think that drama is a real you know discipline, yet every single day they interact with things on Netflix, on sijui vioja mahakamani and all those things. People do not see
TikTok.
it as an opportunity to professionalize this whole thing. I mean, it's years and years of, you know, breakage that will take a lot of time to rectify, but it is going to be with us for quite some time. Kwa sababu the fact that mimi niko university na nashanga for me, I used to wonder the guys doing there's a course, bachelors of purchasing and supplies management. Like I used to wonder, you guys go to school so that you can learn to buy and sell and manage, you know, only to come out here and realize
you also need to budget for your house.
Exactly, that it's actually a thing. And right now where I am, I need somebody with that competence ya kunisaidia kujua you know, interpreting tenders and such things. But when it was fed to us, it was made to appear as though this is just guys, you know, taking their sweet time in campus and, you know, doing a lot of nothing because those guys were free. Sisi tukienda units 4-5 za hesabu per day, these guys had sijui tender 001 ama sijui tendering 0. I'm wondering the whole of this week mumesoma unit moja na ni tenders peke yake.
Ametenda wema akaenda la.
Speaking of tenders, you guys, when I tell you may have hustled, you've gone to KCC?
Yes.
Do you know there's a room pali basement inakuanga you've gone there? Yeah, tender.
Ati tender.
Yeah, like there's someone in front of us. I found myself there at one point, like
applying for a tender.
Yes,
And
hapo ndio hustle ilinifikisha. That room is dingy. It's
bad.
stuffy.
Maybe that's the process that want to eliminate.
It's so
with,
moneyed, by the way. And it's always there every day. That person is always there reading. And as uko mbele anakuanga na mabahasha kama 1 million.
Yeah. But I think there's opportunities. I feel like we just need to open our minds to it. True. Me, I think I keep saying this. The one opportunity that I saw, I think you've seen it on TikTok. There's a girl who does footsteps for movies. Have you seen it? Mm-mm. You see the footsteps on movies. Kazi yake ni kurecord footsteps.
Just that.
Yes, so she's put a microphone on the ground and then she sets up different sets. So if the person on the movie is walking on leaves, she'll set up something to give a dry leaf effect. And then her work is to record footsteps for movies.
And she's making a living.
Yes. So me, that was
like she works for a living.
She works for a living. It was wild. If it's heels, if you need to get a certain effect for a boot, she'll set up and then record that. And I was like,
who even
yani sahi sisi ndo tumefika kwa podcast. Simamisheni kwanza. Simamisheni. No. There's so many opportunities and there's a friend of mine.
She's Kenyan.
No, it's ni majuizi ni Hollywood. That's why I look at the possibilities are numerous. The possibilities are honestly numerous. And then to think, vile sisi, even me right now, I'm thinking, I've realized so many things. I've unearthed so many things where I can earn money. But it's not bado ziko. Like, you can imagine in recording alone, I never thought of something even like that. So it's wild.
I have a question to Ndugu, because we're talking about this adulting and hustling and making money and stuff. Since you mentioned you're married, I assume you're still married. Is it true? Are you still married?
Yeah.
How is it for you now that you are a quote unquote a freelancer? Your partner is in an 8 to 5. She's in an 8 to 5. How is it? Like, did it take her time to accept that my partner does not have a regular
money isn't
coming
why
in
every month?
Yeah, I'm asking you that because for me, I'm a freelancer, so I don't have any. My partner has an 8 to 5, and I listen to him whenever we're having conversations, and I'm like, oh my goodness, we have a long way to go about this, because my partner and his, as we've been talking about it, where we come from, the thoughts, how the people around us believe in the 8 to 5, they don't get how Brenda atafanya gig 1 month atengeneze do na akwe sawa. Wanataka tu Brenda
consistency
8 to 5, apumzike weekend.
Also, your partner holds the same thought process.
And I hope he won't watch this.
He will. Thing is,
yeah, like I just because yeah, because there's that as well.
At first, it is, or it was very difficult to explain that this is how. This is how I earn my money, because especially now, I not to genderize it, but if you're the msanii man in the traditional setup of a family, you take up so many roles of, provision, whatnot. And you will get to a point when hata hiyo pesa umewak, but the people in accounts in companies decide they will pay you and they want to pay you.
Yes.
I have had a check that I collected 90 days after 90 working days. It's a good check. But it's 90 working days.
3 months.
Whole
quarter.
Yeah.
It's 90 working days, which means Monday to Friday.
Yeah.
Discounting sikuza. And accounts people are very particular. Kama kuna hizi holidays zenye tulikuwa tunapata holiday tatu
random ya kupanda miti.
Exactly. Holiday tatu in 1 week. So so hizo
hizo
hiyo wiki ujue iko na wiki mbili. But to answer your question, you know, promising, not really promising, but keeping your word in terms of this is how I receive my money, and this is the frequency with which I receive my money, and this is how I plan around this. I think that wins her confidence in understanding that next month I know this guy might not have a check, but in the coming months I know he will cover for the things or for the time that he's not been earning money. And I feel like this is the same for so many other families or so many other relationships where one partner is in this other side of things. They don't have an 8 to 5, and they constantly have, because it's like a constant battle to prove that indeed you're useful in to the society. Now that is with the partners. The other people you need to convince are now external people, like your in-laws and all these other people. You see, you
it is tough out here.
you get married to somebody's daughter, and the first question they are asking, huyo kijana anafanya kazi gani?
Unaona, it's the same. Hata mimi niliulizwa, so
huyo msichana anafanya kazi gani? Unaona, and then you say, hey,
yako alikuwa na hope to see anything else is fine, let it be fine.
Because now you see, you start now. The other thing that we as creatives struggle with a lot is saying, what is it that we do?
Thank you.
Nini unafanya? Because sasa you want to have a description that befits their level of knowledge and their level of exposure. So, for example, there are people that I tell I write for the newspaper or I write for the Business Daily. But the Business Daily, sometimes I don't even write for a whole month. I write 2 articles and that's it. And the money I get from the Business Daily is not as much. I sustain my life outside the business daily more than the Business Daily can do. It can't even pay my rent. But because of your level of exposure, I will tell you, mi ni mwandishi wa gazeti. But uandishi wa gazeti, sometimes I go for months even without writing. So for the next person, I'll tell them I'm a podcaster, just to confuse them. Naona, hiyo podcast ni nini? Mwambeni, hiyo ni radio. So if they start understanding hiyo ni radio, sasa tunaweza wasikiza unaona, you will find a way of not, advancing the conversation. So the relationships that are outside your romantic relationship, are actually a thing that you need to understand how to manage, because people have expectations. When you get into a relationship or a marriage, your expectations are very open, you and your partner. But the expectations that you people do not know, ni za wazazi, sijui aunties, uncles, they pile on you so much.
That's true, they do.
Unaona, and you will always feel like your father-in-law does not think of you as a serious wife candidate. Because you don't have a real job.
My own family, and I'm not lying, my own family always, like, even when I'm texting them, they're like, uko serious? Like, Nico, mimi najonga hivi. Even my own family, hawajuangi kile nafanya. So
I think in a nutshell, that is how it is. That it is difficult in the beginning to explain to people that this is the life they are getting into, and communicating the risks that I could go for 3 months without pay,
without money.
And this thing is like pata potea. Unaona zile cards watu wanachezanga huko Hilsilasi hivi. Unaambia ukifungua hivi ni farasi, ukifungua hivi ni ndovu. Nionyeshe farasi. So unamwambia uende kawa farasi ama ndovu, whichever.
kuna kwanga na mtu chini.
Yeah, there's always someone. Watu
It's an industry,
it's a
unafikiria carton ni kubwa hivyo kwa nini?
kuna mtu anafanya kazi yake akijua akoma akijua hiyo ndio kazi
kuna
yake.
jamaa kazi yake ni kushika cards hapa tu.
You are not serious.
Anazivuta tu hivi. So wewe unafuata ile farasi.
Aki my lord.
Kumbe ili replace
inaitwa shamba la Nairobi, shamba la mawe kwa nini?
Wewe ni mawe.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, okay, that was loaded. But yeah, for me, I don't have very many, what is it called, commitments, and I'm very grateful for that, because a lot of times, maybe that was what that person meant when they said I need grounding.
To set
I don't have to think.
You haven't settled.
Me, I just move because I couldn't have collateral damage.
Yeah.
Me too.
Oh yeah, because for us now you have to.
Yeah.
I just can't wake up and buy a Mercedes.
Yeah.
You know, like I have to go through. You know now.
And it doesn't even have to be like a partner or
Like
children. There are
yeah.
people who even just are paying black tax, so that in itself is something you have to manage.
Well.
And I've heard what Ndugu has said, and I think first of all, I can be able to pick that. You even register that you're supposed to be the provider. You remember even when you said your finance job in Elisha, you had set up for at least 10 months without changing the lifestyle of that. That is very important, and I think kudos for that. I just want to tell my girlies, be very careful when it's just someone who's planning and when it's a homosexual. Because ambition. You know, he has a job that is informal, he has payments. My friend,
kuna mtu analipwa rent na madem by the way.
Yeah.
Ameka atora kwa menseli tuke.
You also have to be able to discern who's
discernment
playing.
is key.
Discernment is key in everything. But I think we've come to the end. Hata tunafukuzwa na podcast
really?
yako.
Unarudi kuongea tena.
Imagine. After doing what, 2 hours?
I am so grateful because literally you're doing like how many hours today? Like thank you
4.
so much. Hey, thank you. But then that brings us to the end of hustling. What is it called? Adulting for money. I am so grateful. Like this conversation was so insightful, and I will call you
Again.
No, not for the podcast. Munisaidia na maisha.
Oh yeah, call me.
I'm going to say
Twende date lady will.
Acha saa hii si umecancel plans.
Asija nimeisongesha tu. We can meet on Monday. How's your Monday? Tutapanga.
Sawa.
girls. Wanapanga tu vitu hapa kwa
Unaona uzuri wa freelancer. Niko kwa 825 uko 825.
Well, it's a story on its own. Niko hapo kwenye I need to explain to the family. But yeah, thank you so much, and that brings us to the second last episode of the In All Honesty podcast, season 4. And until next season, my fabulous name is OLAVEORAWO. Bye.
Bye.
Kwaheri.
Next on the In All Honesty podcast. Do you hear that? Would you lend me some coins, please? The In All Honesty podcast needs you to continue running. I will deeply appreciate support from you. You can send monetary contributions to my Mpesa +254 728 171 059 via PayPal at OLAVEORAWO. That is OLAVEORAWO. You can support the podcast indirectly by buying merchandise and services I offer listed on my WhatsApp catalog. My WhatsApp number is +254 728 171 059. Did you think I'd forget? Advertise with the In All Honesty podcast. Hit me up to talk about it. You can do that via WhatsApp +254 728 171 059 or via email OLAVEORAWO@gmail.com, or you can also DM me on socials at OLAVEORAWO. You know the hand that gives will receive an episode every week. I'm not where I want to be, but I'm in what was once a dream. So if I do some quick math, the future equals a dream come true. Since 1992, In All Honesty, a podcast by OLAVEORAWO.